بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Aloha, welcome to Islamic Civilization, this time session 11, dealing with one of the pillars of Islam, and that would be the Ramadan fasting in the 9 months of Islam. So keep in mind, we did talk about the first two pillars in session 10. In this session 11, we would talk about one more pillar, and that would be the Ramadan fasting, and we would continue the pillars of Islam and finish it in hopefully in session 12. So let's see what we have in this session. These Islamic practices, or the 5 pillars of Islam, as you know already, the number 1 is saying and believing in the Shahada. Number 2 is the praying of 5 prayers daily, praying 5 times daily. The fasting in the month of Ramadan, giving charity, and going on pilgrimage to Kaaba in Mecca. So those are the overall objectives, but for session 11, we are going to be dealing with mostly fasting in the month of Ramadan. We would also talk about the purpose of the fasting in Ramadan, why Muslims fast in Ramadan, the times and conditions of fasting, fast and feasting in Ramadan, the end of Ramadan, and the big celebration called the festival of Eid al-Fitr. So we would be mostly dealing with the pillar of Islam, which is called the fast in the Ramadan month. So keep in mind, we have already talked about the 2 pillars of Islam, the Shahada and the prayers, the daily 5 prayers, or the 5 daily prayers, however you say it. And in this session, we would be dealing mostly with the Ramadan fasting, why Muslims fast and how they fast and what happens during the fast, and at the end of the month of Ramadan, the fast. So let's get to the fasting in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan, that is the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, which has perfect 12 months. But keep in mind that this month is based on the lunar calendar of the Islamic way of counting the months. So every month in the Islamic calendar starts with the new moon. With the sighting of the new moon, it starts the new month in the Islamic calendar. And as I said, it is based on the waxing and the waning of the moon. In Ramadan, the Quran was first revealed in Ramadan to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is the reason that Muslims, they fast in gratitude to God for giving them the Quran. So this is basically the month of Ramadan is the month of Quran. And as we would see it later on, another reason for the fast in Ramadan is in the Quran, there are a lot of commandments, but some commandments are part and parcels of the 5 pillars of Islam. So these pillars of Islam, they come directly from the Quran, which is the word of God. Muslims, for that reason, if they pray, why do they pray? They pray because that is the commandment of God. Thou shalt pray 5 times a day, and that's what Muslims do. Now, another commandment of God in the Quran is that you should fast in the month of Ramadan. And that is why Muslims fast, because of the commandment. It is the hukam. It is the order or commandment of God, and that is why Muslims fast in the month of Ramadan. That is the only obligatory fasting in Islam. Muslim can fast, I mean, before and after Ramadan, anytime they want. And in fact, there are, Muslims who also, not all of them, but some Muslims, they also fast every Thursday and every Monday, which is highly recommended in Islam. Some can do only once a week. That would be either Thursday or Monday, and some do twice a week. So it is highly recommended, and it keeps people, in check and in control, self-control, and in contact with the Creator God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He is called in Islam. So fasting is the order, the commandment of God. That is why Muslim fast. And number two, Muslim fast in gratitude, in thanking God for giving them the Quran, because Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, first time in the month of Ramadan. And so this is Muslims showing their gratitude to God for giving them this great holy book called the Quran. And so I thought I should tell you why Muslim fast. And there is another reason for the fast also, and that would be how it feels to be hungry, how it feels to be poor. And when you feel the hunger and the poverty of the poor people and the hungry people, there are millions of children and women, they go hungry every day in the world. And so that gives you, a reality check, firsthand, a personal experience, how it feels to be hungry. And so then the next logical reason for that is that you should give more charity, more food to the poor people or the less fortunate people in the society. So let's see what else we have in this program, session 11. The Ramadan month starts with the Ramadan moon, the new moon, and it is sometimes very difficult to see the new moon, and it is possible for the youth, the young people, they see it. And for, older people, senior citizen, it may not be that easy, but you would know. Because when anybody sees the moon, they celebrate, and you would definitely know, in your town, in your village, that somebody has seen it. And people see that very, with great pleasure and eagerness, the new moon of the month of Ramadan especially. So there on the left side, you have a picture of the new moon from NASA. They took it from the International Space Station. And on the right, you have, the new moon of Ramadan, especially of Ramadan, in somewhere in the Middle East. Okay, so every new moon starts a new month in the Islamic lunar calendar. Okay, let's see. The Ramadan fast. Fast starts early dawn and ends at dusk. That early dawn would be somewhere around as early as maybe 2 hours before sunrise. So if the sunrise is 7 a.m., you should start your fast, or rather stop eating food at about 5 a.m. So 2 hours before sunrise, and it ends at sunset. Soon after sunset, maybe 1 or 2 minutes after sunset, it ends. So between those hours, daytime, no food, no drink at all until the sunset. Okay? During this time, no sexual relations in daytime also. So it's a complete fast. No harmful talks or acts, except, which one should not be doing it anytime anyway, but especially in Ramadan, no harmful talk and no harmful acts. That means no gossip and no fighting anytime, not only just in the Ramadan, but also in the rest of, one's life. And that's a very bad thing, gossiping and fighting. And so this Ramadan gives Muslim a training boot camp to control themselves from bad talk and fighting. So the whole month is in fact a great exercise, a great training in patience and self-control, and not just only in Ramadan but also in life. So every year for 29 or 30 days, depending on when the new moon would be seen or sighted, and so for 30 or 29 days every year in the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar, the Ramadan, the 9th month of Islam, Muslims fast at daytime. And as I said, it starts very early in the morning, almost 2 hours before sunrise. Muslim, they get up, eat whatever they want to, and then from that onward, no food, no drink, nothing at all until sunset, and after the sunset, they would break the fast. So let's see what else. Ramadan fast. So there are some great exceptions and exemptions because everybody cannot fast. Most do, but children and the elderly people, if they cannot fast, they should not fast. Children would start fast, so far regulations are concerned, they should fast when they get the age of puberty. But children, they imitate their parents and they fast very early on, maybe at the age of 11 and 12 and 13, and then parents, they force them to break the fast and not fast. And the reason for that is simple. Children need a lot of nourishment in the beginning of the formative phase of their life, a lot of milk especially, good nutrition, so their bones would be good for later life. And so if children are fasting before the age of puberty, then some scholars say they should be stopped. But if they can do it willingly and they are happy about it, then let them continue maybe 1 or 2, 3 days in the whole month, and ask them to break the fast and not to fast the whole 30 days because they really need nourishment, especially milk. Similarly, the elderly people, those who cannot fast, they should not. The weak people, physically weak, and if they fast, that is going to make them more weak or weaker, and that is not the a good thing. So the idea is not to kill yourself. The idea is to worship God within all the limitations and shortcomings of the human body. And so that's how it is recognized in Islam, that if you cannot fast, then you should not fast. But if you can, then you must. And that would be good for, any ritual of Islam. If you cannot do it, then you should not do it. But if you can, then you should. And just like here in the fast also, there is no priest or pastor after you to check if you are fasting or not. No, it is between you and your God. So that is a relationship between you and your God, and if you can do it, you should. If you cannot, then you should not. Okay, let's see what else. Pregnant women and those women who are nursing the babies, breastfeeding, they should not fast because in the first case, it might be dangerous for the fetus, and in the second case, it may not be good. The baby would not get the right type of a quantity and quality of milk. So that's why pregnant women and nursing women should not fast. Once they are done with the pregnancy and the baby is fine, later on they can fast. Okay. Women during menstruation period, they should not fast also, and they just should take care of themselves. But during menstruation period, women are not required to fast. They should not fast. Women after the childbirth for 40 days should not fast also. However, if they think that their bleeding has stopped, like on the 30th day or the 32nd day, before the 40th day, then they can start their fasting. But the 40 day is the maximum for women after childbirth. They should not fast up to 40 days. If that childbirth happens during or a little before the month of Ramadan, that's the condition. Anyone who needs medication should not fast. A person who is, fine, good body, able-bodied person, but what happens right during in the beginning or somewhere, anywhere in the month of Ramadan, he becomes sick or she becomes sick. And the doctor says that you must take the medication. Flu is the most common one, or some other, sickness that a person gets in, and the doctor says you must take the medication. If you do not take the medication, you would make your condition worse. So you should not fast. God knows about you. He knows your condition. You know your condition. You are not in a good condition. You should take medication and should not fast. However, the days that you missed, you can later on make them up. If you could not, for whatever reason, you could not make up those days that you missed, for every day that you missed in the month of Ramadan, you should feed one person. And so you missed a day of Ramadan fasting, and so it's not sort of a penalty. What it is, you would get the reward by feeding a poor person. So you would help someone in the community, and that is, the sort of a compensation, so to speak, of what you missed. And so keep in mind, any person, especially those people who have, a sort of a, heart problem, they cannot fast. Those who have diabetes, they cannot fast. There are several, conditions in which the person must take some food at, some time of the day. And so those people, they should never fast, because if they do, that would put them more in physical danger and their health would be in danger. And so that's the reason they should not fast. Okay, so here you see one thing. Although fasting comes from the commandment of God, but God also wants you to stay in good health, in good condition, and do not endanger your health. And so that's why there are, by Islamic law, by Sharia, there are all these exemptions and exceptions for these conditions that exist. And they're not great conditions, but that's why there are exemptions and exceptions for these conditions, and one should not fast. Okay, let's see what else. Ramadan fast. During the Ramadan month, Muslims read more Quran and pray extra. And that is very logical, because the Ramadan month is very spiritual, and so it has to be, there has to be more spiritual actions and deeds. And the best one is that reading of the Quran, because this is the month of the Quran, and pray extra, worship extra. Also, because this is the month of Ramadan, and in Ramadan you know how it feels to be hungry and poor, as I said. And so Muslim would give more charity and more food during the month of Ramadan. Muslims also invite family and friends for Iftar to break their fast in after sunset. So almost every sunset time, evening, there is a great party going around in the town or in the village or in the neighborhood. Okay, there are also special prayers in Ramadan in the last 10 nights of the Ramadan, especially the odd nights, like the 21st, the 23rd, the 25th, the 27th, the 29th. These nights, the odd nights in the last 10 nights of the month of Ramadan, they are very special. And so it's called Laylatul Qadr, and Laylatul Qadr, that night, we don't know which one would be that night. God knows, only God knows that night, and that night is called the night of power. It's a very spiritual, very powerful night in which the traditions tell us, the Prophet tells us, that there is this one night in which the prayer is accepted. So, and then also the Quran tells us, if you pray more and give more during that night, that is like more than 1,000 nights worth of 1,000 night worship. And so that's why it's called Laylatul Qadr, the night of power. And so that's why in that night you would see in the Muslim world, in the last 10 nights, people become very particular in prayer and, in giving to people and in more and more worship. Okay. The Ramadan fast. The fast, as I said, it ends at sunset. And so there at sunset is called the Iftar or the breaking of the fast. Of course, you cannot fast the whole day and a whole night. So at the end of the day, you break the fast. Usually or traditionally, Muslim, they break the fast with some dates and milk. And both are, wonderful. I eat them anyway, and I drink milk, on a daily basis. So dates, they are sweet, so it restores your body sugar immediately when you eat 2 or 3. And milk, wonderful stuff, milk. It does the body good, as they say, and so a glass of milk would be a great thing with a few dates. And you can, if you want to break your fast with anything, just simple water, that would do it, or whatever, you have. Daytime fasting, in fact, it becomes nighttime feasting. So it should not be really the whole night, just that, 1 or 2 hours soon after sunset, because you need to pray more and read more of the Quran. But at the same time, that nighttime feasting, there should not be any gluttony. Don't overeat, because that would defeat the whole purpose of Ramadan. So there, what happens is during Ramadan, I think I'm one of those people who put on a little bit more, weight. It's called the fast month, yes, but at the same time, when that, every day at sunset, people tend to eat a little bit more. I try not to, I control myself. I try to drink more water and eat more vegetables, and that fills you up, and that's the trick that you can, do anytime, anywhere, and of the year. And so that's how one, way to control yourself. Drink more water, which we need anyway. Now, speaking of water and this Ramadan, as this is based on lunar calendar, as I said, this can happen in June, July, August. The month of Ramadan can happen in June, July, and August during summer. And boy, that is very tough, especially in places like Middle East, or North Africa, which is nothing but desert and very hot, in summertime, even in the best of time. In winter, they are hot. And so in summertime, they're very, hot. Southeast Asia, like Malaysia, Indonesia, South Asia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, where the largest Muslim, live. Those are very tough places during summer, but people fast. And if they cannot, then they should not. So I thought I should let you know that it can happen during summer, and it rotates, throughout the year. Almost every 30 years, it changes by a month or 2. So you do your own calculation. Maybe you can go on website how this thing works. The rotation of the month of Ramadan, the 9 month of Ramadan, how it rotates throughout the Gregorian calendar or the European calendar, January through December. Maybe you can do your own research. Maybe you can write, a paper on it. 1 page would be more than enough, and you can do extra credit if you want to. Let's see what else we have. So the fast ends at sunset, as I said, and there you have the Iftar, and you break the fast with dates and milk, as I said. Daytime fasting turns nighttime feasting, and as I said, you have to be, in full control of yourself and have great patience. Just do not overeat, because that would defeat the whole purpose. So breaking the fast, let's see, you had the fast for the whole day. Now let's see how you would break the fast. There, what happens in communities, especially in mosques or any place of gathering, people get together, and on the left you see, in the mosque, there is a huge, long, row of food being prepared, and on the right side you see people coming to the food and just waiting for the sunset. So the moment the sun sets, there is the azan or the prayer to the, or the call to the prayer. That would be the fourth prayer. If you remember, we talked about the 5 prayers. So the fourth prayer, when that is called for, that is when Muslims break their fast, soon after sunset. Okay? So there you have a group of Muslims getting together, and there is my favorite, quite a few things. On the left, dates and milk. I love them. And on the right, I think that's everybody should, eat more of them, fruits and vegetables. And I think that may be from USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. They tell us eat more fruits and vegetables and you would be in good condition. Okay. All right. Iftar with dates and milk, and here is a date seller. And so throughout the Muslim world, you would, see in the bazaars, in the markets, date sellers. I think he is somewhere in city of Kuwait, in Kuwait, Kuwait City. And so there are places which are really known for some wonderful dates. And those would be places like in the Middle East. Egypt is also known. When I was growing up in Pakistan, the best dates would come from Iraq, especially from the south of Iraq, a city or town called Basra. So the Basra dates were very popular in Pakistan, especially in our town in Peshawar. So there are places that, and in Pakistan also they, have their own dates, long and, very sweet. I think these days California is very good for dates, and that's most probably we get our dates, even if they may be branded from Arabia or from Iraq, but we know they grow them up, grow in California. And so dates, they have their own specialities. Different countries have their different specialities in dates. And the best time for that would be to sell them would be during the Ramadan, and Muslims eat a lot of dates, especially during Ramadan. I eat them the whole year, okay, with milk. It's good. Okay, let's see what else. Breaking the fast. Now you can have your own dishes, ethnic or cultural or wherever you live. You can have your own dish, people, and that's what people do, not just eating, dates and drinking milk. They have, the finest dishes during Ramadan. Now, even though Ramadan is about fast, but honestly, in reality, it is a lot more about food. And that is where people, especially women, they show off their expertise in creating different types of dishes and serving them to their families and friends and whoever, comes by, okay? So a lot of food during, and free, also for anyone. Oh boy, look at that. That would definitely, I would love to have that, and that's why, I tell my students at the end of Ramadan, I might get a few more pounds rather than less, and the reason is if you eat that stuff, definitely you're gonna gain more weight. And sometimes I really eat a lot, which I should not. I know that I have that problem who are eating. And so eat more fruits and vegetables, and that's what I'm doing now. I have lost about 15 pounds, yes, by eating more vegetables and fruits and drinking more water. That is the best thing. I just simply call it WWW, walk, water, and waste. Waste is to going to the bathroom. The more you walk, the more you drink water, the better for your health. And when you are hungry, just eat more vegetables, and maybe not too much, fruits, because they're sweet, and that can get, maybe added sugar in the body. And so the best thing is to eat more vegetables, walk more, and drink more water, and you would be in good shape. Okay, let's see what else. Well, it's interesting, that the month of Ramadan is about fasting. And there you have a lot of food, and the talk of food. Boy, look at that picture. There is that, child, even if he's not fasting, but he is fasting at that moment to be surrounded by all those great food and dishes while his parents, I think, are preparing, the dishes for the people, and then they would come and sit in the rows, the blank empty spaces, and they would be all taken and people would eat and would finish this whole thing maybe in less than 15 minutes. And I believe that child is in praying position. He's holding his hands together, praying that he would also get, of course he will get, anything that he wants to. Okay, and that's how you see in communities, in families, and throughout the Muslim world. It's a good time to come together over food after the long day fast. Here you have two pictures on the left. I chose this picture on the left because this is a group of Muslims in Cambodia in a mosque in Phnom Penh in Cambodia. And on the right, you have a group of Muslims sitting in front of their mosque in China. I believe that is in Xi'an. And so you have on the left Cambodian Muslims, and on the right you have the Chinese Muslims. I was told that on the left, that particular mosque was built by Pakistani Cambodians, Pakistanis who went there and settled there and married, there and among the Muslims of Cambodia, and so they built this mosque or rebuilt it in 1964. So on the one side, on the left side, you have Muslims, Cambodian Muslims, and on the right side you have Chinese Muslims, and they doing the same thing. They had the fast in Ramadan for the whole day, and at sunset they are just about to eat, ready to eat. Okay. So no matter where you are in Islam, you would be doing exactly the same thing during daytime and nighttime. So whether you are in Russia or in United States or in Indonesia or in Morocco, wherever you are, or anywhere in Europe, you would be doing the same thing. 2 hours before sunrise during the month of Ramadan, you will get up, eat whatever you want, and then you stop eating 2 hours before sunrise. And you will not eat or drink anything until sunset. So for some people, especially for the northern Europeans, the daytime is a little bit different, because sometimes it's, the long day, and sometimes the long night. And so they have their own system, and they have fixed their system how to fast, what time of the day they should fast, and because sometimes the day becomes like a whole entire day for 24 hours. So they have to deal with that, and they have found the solution for that type also. In some places the days are very long compared to other places, or they're very hot. So they deal with the situation in their own cultural way. So there the culture comes, and also the culture affects the religion, how people perform their religious rites. And that would be true almost of every religion, because they are so universal. Okay, let's see. Iftar, breaking the fast. There you have another mosque full of people, and they're just about to break their fast, and there could be easily more than 5,000 people. I believe that is the mosque somewhere in Saudi Arabia or in Kuwait. It is very common throughout the Muslim world that mosques are filled during the Ramadan month. As I said, it is a very spiritual month. More people go to mosque more regularly. During the month of Ramadan, we should be going to the mosque regularly any month, of the year. But let's face it, in Ramadan, more people go to the mosque because more people fast. More people become more spiritual. They read more Quran, they give more charity, and some of that is carried out, throughout the year. And that's what the whole purpose is, to help people, especially the less fortunate, particularly orphans. Particularly, orphans must be taken care of, not just only in the Ramadan, but also throughout the year. If you have orphans, if they're poor, one must take care of them. And that is the great message of Ramadan, helping the poor people. Okay? If you want to show your gratitude as a Muslim to God because He gave you the holy book of Quran, that would be the one thing one should do. Pray more, read more the Quran, but at the same time help other people, the poor people, the less fortunate people in the society, help them financially more and more. Okay, let's see what else. End of Ramadan, I think everybody was looking to that, and of course every Muslim would be looking to it. The end of Ramadan, I have seen people who really, cry when the Ramadan ends, because they believe that was a great spiritual moment that brought them to the mosque more, that made them to read more the Quran and made them to give more, and hopefully they would be doing all this, more and more throughout the year. End of Ramadan, special evening prayers also in Ramadan. People pray more, and there are special prayers during the Ramadan called the Taraweeh. Okay, and there is a boy standing up while he should be going in prostration with the rest of the people, but I think he is not in that mood to go prostrate, so he stood up at the time when he was supposed to go in prostration. And kids do that a lot, they want to see. Okay, let's see. End of Ramadan. So on the sighting of the new moon of the Shawwal, which is the 10th moon in the Islamic lunar calendar, that ends the Ramadan. End of the Ramadan fast. And so because you sighted the new moon of the next month, which is Shawwal, the 10th month in the Islamic calendar, now you can eat at daytime. Okay, but again, you have to have the good, self-control not to overeat in the rest of the year. And so if the idea was to control yourself, then you should control yourself not just only in Ramadan but also throughout the year. Okay, end of Ramadan. And so with a big bang, you would hear that. Just as you would hear the start of the Ramadan, that is how you would hear the end of Ramadan with fireworks and, a lot of, noise, and you would know the Ramadan has come to an end, and tomorrow is a great celebration and Eid. Also there, and people then, they send, before the end of Ramadan, in the last 10 days, people sent, greeting cards, wonderful, you had the fast the whole month, and now the end is coming, and so let's celebrate. And so it becomes very, festive. The whole Ramadan becomes very festive. People send cards, greeting cards, first greeting the Ramadan coming of the Ramadan. So throughout the Islamic world, and since a lot, maybe 19th century and 20th century, and now, email and internet and all that, and so it has become easier and easier for people to send greetings, across continents. What used to take a whole year takes only 1 second to send that greeting, and so easy, one click away. The whole world is one click away from you, and so that's why greetings, electronic greetings, very fancy, very beautiful cards. I hope there is somewhere an archive, and maybe you can go online and pick your own greeting card that you like. Especially the greeting cards of the end of Ramadan called Eid-ul-Fitr, or the Eid greeting card, and you can find it, and maybe you can send me one if you want to, or send to a Muslim friend if you have one. So it's up to you, but choose the one that would be copyright free. Okay, do not infringe of anybody's copyrights. Okay, let's see what else. Eid-ul-Fitr, the celebration, the great Eid-ul-Fitr celebration, it's coming, and you deserve it because you had the fast for the whole month, 30 days. So celebrating the end of Ramadan, that is also part of the spirituality of Islam. Offering Eid-ul-Fitr special prayers. So after the first prayer, the morning prayer, then about 2 hours after sunrise, Muslim pray again on that very day, and it's a special prayer, and people, they very eagerly and festively they get to the mosque, or mosque may not contain all the people, accommodate all the people, so that's why they go into parks. On that day, people give more charity, Zakatul Fitr as it is called, more charity to the less fortunate, the poor people in the community. On that day, giving gifts, to children, your children, neighbors' children, and especially orphans, if there are any in the community. The orphans should always be taken care of first. Before really you take care of your children, before you clothe your children with nice clothes, before you give them money or gift, you should really do that first, for the orphans, and then, you can do that, for your children. So we must take care of the poor people in the community, especially on orphans throughout the year, but particularly that day, because there is the al-Fitr, which means giving this charity to poor people on the day of the Eid, because it's a very, a special day. It's the day of happiness. You had the fast, congratulations, of 30 days fast. That was not easy, but you did it. You survived, so to speak. And now you show your gratitude, your thanks to God. So that would be a sort of a thanksgiving for you when you give to poor people. That is how in Islam you thank God, who has given you all this, life and wealth, everything, especially health. And so you should show that gratitude to God, that thankfulness to God, by giving to the less fortunate people in the Ramadan, and especially on the day of Eid al-Fitr, because that's a celebration, and the orphans should never miss that celebration because they are poor, because they cannot afford clothes or new shoes. So you must provide for them. Honestly, before you provide for your children, you should take care of the orphan people in the community. Okay, let's see what else. Also on this day, people visit, their relatives, their friends. You start, of course, first and foremost with your parents. So if they, live close by, go to them and greet them with the greeting of the Eid al-Fitr. And that's how, the whole day people come and go. You go to other people, they come to you and greeting. This would be really something like but more than, the Christmas in the Christian world, okay? Although it's also becoming a little bit commercial, but still, thank God it has that spiritual and religious, taste and reason and process. Okay. Eid al-Fitr prayers, right there, people pray special prayer on Eid day, and this is, I took this picture at Manoa Park, and it is, like a group of more than 300 Muslims, and I could not, bring everybody in the picture, and they're behind or somewhere there, separate, as I told you last time. There are also Muslim women who are praying exactly the same prayer under, after the same imam, the same leader. So here you have Muslims. There are about, they say, close to about 3,000 Muslims in Hawaii. Although not everybody can come to the mosque, even for the Eid prayer, but at Eid prayer you see close to about, one day I had to count them, and I think I lost the count, but there were more than 1,500 Muslims, and when you see them, look at them, they come from different races, from different regions, from different ethnic groups. So you would see a lot of, here, because of Hawaii, maybe you might see more people from South Asia and Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, also from India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh particularly, also from, the Middle East, any part of the Middle East, you would have Muslims here. And of course, Caucasian American Muslims, African American Muslims, and European Muslims, even Russians, they are here. People from Iran and other parts of the Muslim world. So in that picture, you would notice, no two people look the same. They might look to you the same, but they come from different culture, different, places on planet Earth, and that's how Islam is. It's a very cosmopolitan religion. You have every race and every region in this religion. And sometimes I, joke about it because with these 3,000 Muslims right here, it's a small community. in Hawaii, but there is, a lot of diversity. So the only two things that can bring us together would be Islam, the religion, and English language. Those are the only two common things among us. Otherwise, we speak different languages. We come from different cultures. We clothe, we wear different clothes, different food taste and all that. And so there's a lot of diversity among Muslims. And that has to be that way because it is a truly, and some scholar would tell us, this is truly the first universal religion, the first cosmopolitan religion, and that is how it was meant to from the beginning, because it was meant for the whole humanity. Okay, let's see what else we have. The Eid cards. Well, I said you can send me one. Here I picked one which is copyright free, and you can pick your own if you want to, or you can make your own Eid card and send it to a friend on Eid day, or you can send it to me if you want to, if you remember, So, and that becomes, these days it's so easy. People make their own cards and they send them, and that is also sort of, the show of your great artistic talent, so to speak. You can do that in making or creating your own Eid card. And here is one, Eid Stamp USA. Think about it. Wow, look at that. So here is this Muslim American kid. He said that he wanted the Eid Mubarak, which means Eid greetings card for the United States Postal Services. And he, wrote, made one, and then he collected signatures and went to the post office, and they accepted his Eid card design. And so you can buy this Eid card from United States Postal Office or anywhere where they, sell stamps. And so here you have the Eid stamps, and I love to buy them especially and send them, around the world. And just this is my way telling Muslims. And as you might know, I come from the Pashtun group of people. We are about 10 million in Afghanistan and about 20 million in Pakistan. So we are the largest ethnic group sitting between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And so I send these, especially this Eid card. It has the U.S. United States insignia of the post mail, and I send them just to tell them that United States has its own huge, big, strong Muslim community, and there is a very vibrant Islam in the United States. So I send especially this Eid greeting stamp and the Eid card with this stamp, because I want to tell them that Islam is in the United States, and it's a respected religion. It depends on the individual in any religious community, how they behave in any community. So almost, every city in the United States has its own mosque. Almost every city has its own mosque. And so, and that would be true also of any country in Europe. And so that's my way of showing to the Muslims in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and, other places, especially in the Middle East, that we are, living in good condition in this country. We celebrate Eid. We are free to pray anywhere we want to. Of course, you have to be, careful not to create any problem for other people. So sometimes we go and reserve a, parking, a public park, and there we pray, for about 2-3, and sometimes we reserve the park for the whole day. And the local county, they understand, that we need a bigger place to come together as Muslim and pray and worship and celebrate the Eid. And so we were never, denied or refused any facility. I should tell you that. So we do that regularly, and maybe you can come, to the Manoa Park on Eid day. You can find it out from the Islamic Center in Honolulu. In Manoa, you can find out when is the Eid, and so you could come and attend, and everybody is most welcome. And we have, our non-Muslim friends among Christians and Jews, Buddhists and Hindus, and we invite them, and they come and they watch, how we pray and how we worship, especially on Eid day, and then after that, there is nothing but food everywhere, and so tea and food and, sweets. The whole day that goes on, it's a day of celebration soon after Eid, and I really invite you to come and join us, but you need to find out, where we might be praying that particular Eid prayer, whether in Manoa Park or in Ala Moana, and so we go to both places depending on which one would be free and reserved for us. Okay, let's see what else. There is one more, especially for the ladies, a great celebration and showing off their talent, the henna painting. And you don't have to be really a Muslim for this, anybody can come and join and do the painting on their hands. So the night before the Eid, that is what, a lot of Muslim women and their non-Muslim friends, they do. But henna, keep in mind, that is very much for women, not for men, okay? And so it's a, women's celebration also, and that's how they show their fancy clothes and their, fancy artistic talents in creating different pattern and design in henna. So here you have, painting, henna painting on the hand for Eid purpose. And this could be also sometime, for wedding purposes also. Okay. Let's see what else we have in henna painting. All right, there you have a hand on the left side. I think that picture is from India. And on the right side, you have a Moroccan lady who painted her feet. And so there she shows, her talents of and design of the henna painting on the feet. You can mix that up with the henna, you can mix it up with any color if you want to, and your desired color will be there. Okay, what else? Let's see. Still staying with henna. So if you wonder, where the henna comes from, so on the left you have the henna plant, and on the right you have the henna powder. And you just mix it up, with desired color and water, and there you have it. Okay. All right. So let's see Eid meals. Of course, there you have an Indonesian family getting together with family and friends and enjoying, special Eid meal. That would be lunch. Yes, that would be lunch. And dinner also later on, but lunch is the most important one on the Eid day. Okay. That was from Indonesia. Here is a group of Chinese Muslims coming together for the Eid lunch. Okay, so they prayed about 9 a.m. and then, this may be like 11 or 12 noon, and there you have them, in some communities, Muslim community, men eat together separate from women. And so women, some community don't like the mixing up of women and men, especially in religious ceremonies. Here in the United States, we all together, but maybe we also separate, that somehow it happens. So we take the food from the same place. Ladies first, of course, they take the food because they have children also to feed and all that, so the ladies, they eat first, and then men would go and eat and take their plates and hang around, with one another. And so men to men, women to women. And so, the whole day goes like that, almost everywhere in the world where you have common celebrations where Muslims get together and have the celebration. So it's still, they prefer to keep the sexes separate and not do so much mixing. Okay, let's see. Either Fitr celebrations, and right there you have somewhere from Ghana, and so music is very much part of the celebration. Not in every community though, not in every community, but in some, yes, music is part of the Eid celebration. Okay. Here also Muslim ladies, mostly from Indonesia and Malaysia. I took that picture in the Manoa Park, and they came together and, with friends and families, and I believe they are from Indonesia and Malaysia. So I took that picture in Manoa. Here also a person having 4 cameras, if you can see his cameras, trying to take picture of almost everybody, and there it is. There he is with a camera, and on the right you have a group of ladies getting together in celebration. Let's see what else we have in celebration of Eid. This picture is from Associated Press, AP, and that is in Romania. So European Muslim women celebrating their Eid, and somehow that, maybe that young lady, she spotted the cameraman and stood up to take her picture, and that's what, became so famous, that picture. There she is, very prominent young Muslim standing up. Okay, let's see what else we have. The Eid al-Fitr celebration also, you can dance if you want to, and that's how, this is Yemen. And I believe there also, this celebration, particular celebration, turned into a sort of a political message to the president of Yemen, telling him, Irhal, get out. We don't want you anymore because you as a dictator, you ruled us for 10, 15 years, and so he's out. Why? He came to United States, that dictator also. He came to United States. So that's how sometimes, celebrations and festivals turn into political messages, and that was one in Yemen. Okay, let's see what else we have left. Oh, here, reaction report in session 11. And so what you need to do is write brief notes on any 2 of the following items. You can write on the purpose of the Ramadan fasting that we talked about. You can talk, and write about the do's and the don'ts of Ramadan fasting, the joys of Iftar, breaking of the fast, also the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. So you need to write that reaction report on it and turn it in Laulima. Okay. In review, today we talked about the fasting in Ramadan, the purpose of the fast, the process of the fast, the terms and conditions of the fast, the Iftar or the breaking of the fast, and the festival of Eid al-Fitr, the great joy of Eid. Please stay engaged. Any question, any comments, most welcome. You just go to Laulima and send me, your assignments and message anything that you want to ask. Please stay engaged, and any question you have, that'd be so nice of you. And welcome, and aloha, and God be with you. Aloha.